The head of Denver City Council says right now she'd vote no on a plan to outsource the city's migrant response.
So Denver wants to pay a private security contractor up to $40 million to handle new arrivals. Now, though, it's not clear if City Council is going to go for this. 9 News reporter Cole Sullivan is along with details of the contract just announced tonight. Cole?
Kyle, that contract with company Garda World calls for the company to build a shelter for up to 1,000 migrants. The company, better known for armored cars and security guards, will now be providing meals, medical services, even transportation for those guests, so the city no longer has to. Scenes like this have stopped in Denver. The number of migrants arriving here has slowed, down to about 60 a day. But the city says it needs help from private security company Garda World.
My responsibility is to make sure that I'm making the right decision.
City Council President Jamie Torres says right now she's a no on the $40 million contract. If approved, Garda World would take over the city's migrant response and open a 1,000-person shelter.
There is a care that comes with a local response that may not always come with an outside vendor that doesn't know Denver, doesn't know Colorado, maybe doesn't even know this population.
It feels like an insult.
Yoli Casas says Denver is turning its back on the organizations that have helped with the migrant response so far. Her nonprofit started working with the city back in December, when she says an outside vendor could have made a difference.
Then, perhaps. Now, in July, after all the work has been done.
A city spokesperson says the Garda World contract will allow dozens of city employees to return to their normal jobs and will prepare the city in case of another spike in arrivals.
We've taken a lot of care as a city that welcomes immigrants in how we respond.
Torres worries an outside vendor will not have the same careful response.
I think the solution is to continue through that thread, connecting with local partners who deeply care about this community.
So there's a timing issue with this too, Torres says. It's scheduled to be voted on, the contract, on July 10th. That is the last city council meeting of this term, meaning that the new mayor and new city council members will be sworn in after that. She says she doesn't want to stick them with this contract if they don't want it.
And Cole, we see these transition decisions go different ways. Sometimes an exiting a group of elected officials says, listen, we'll make the call, we have the experience. And sometimes they say, listen, if you're going to live with the consequences, new council, new legislature, then you should make the decision.
And that's the debate the city council now has in front of it, whether it wants to make that call now or wait for those new city council members to come on. It also could be a way of them saying, we don't want to have this plan, maybe we'll come up with a new one.
Cole Sullivan reporting. Thank you.
A man is dead tonight after getting caught in floodwaters in Weld County earlier today. It happened this morning at County Road 73 and County Road 16 near Roggin. The sheriff's office says the man drove past the roadblocks meant to stop cars from entering the dangerous floodwaters. Deputies say the car was swept away. Someone who saw it all happen pulled the man out of the water, but it was too late. The sheriff's office says deputies rescued 6 people and 5 dogs from floodwaters today. They say people are ignoring those barriers. A deputy will be stationed there from now on to make sure people slow down and avoid going into the water.
The woman who was seriously hurt when a train hit the police cruiser she was in has pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor menacing charge today in Weld County. Ureni Rios was given a 1-year deferred sentence and 10 hours community service. Court documents show that the felony menacing charge she was facing was dropped. Rios was arrested September 2022 out near Fort Lupton. A man claimed she pointed a gun at him during a road rage incident. Police put her in a cruiser parked on train tracks off Highway 82. A freight train came through and hit the police car. Rios ended up with broken bones and head injuries. The former Platteville officer who parked the cruiser on the tracks faces several misdemeanor charges. The Fort Lupton police officer who put Rios in the police car on the tracks is facing a felony.
The state's largest school district spent months developing a new safety plan. Denver Public Schools released its final draft today. This comes after several incidents of violence in the district this past year and the highly debated return of armed police officers to campus. 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles walks us through it.
Well, it feels great to finally be here.
DPS Superintendent Dr. Alex Marrero calls this 57-page final safety plan a living document.
And yes, we're here, right? So submitted, assignment submitted, but are we done? No.
But will it make DPS staff and families feel safe?
We know that there's quite a bit of work that we need to do. And it is our hope that as we communicate the shifts that we're making and the intentionality and the attention to safety, that yes, our staff, our students, and our families can rest assured that we are intentional and that our schools are safe.
The school board directed the superintendent to craft the safety plan by the end of June after an East High student, Luis Garcia, was shot and killed just off campus in February. And in March, a student at the same school shot 2 deans before later killing himself. Both deans survived. The most visible change in this document, the full-time return of SROs, armed Denver police officers, decided by a board vote earlier this month, directing Marrero to meet with DPD and figure out formally what that will look like.
We have yet to establish a new memo of understanding, which we refer to as an MOU, for obvious reasons. We have transition in the city, so Mayor-elect Johnston will soon to be mayor. We have a great chief of police, and he's willing to collaborate, but we have to have that transition happening before we sit down and put pen to paper.
Until then, and when school starts this fall, Marrero says SROs will staff the same schools they were staffing temporarily at the end of the past year, 14 officers between 13 schools.
Student searches, those pat-downs, those will still be done by trained school staff, people that the student likely already knows. But now members of the district's own in-house safety team must be present in the room as well. And in some scenarios, they could be armed.
Any update on what's going on with the discipline matrix? Because there's certainly some concerning elements to that.
Yeah, a lot of questions parents had about that as well. So at this point, no specifics, no changes, because district leaders say they're going to go and meet with these experts at Harvard in July, and then they're going to plan to spend about a whole year working on what kind of changes might come about that follows the law to the discipline matrix. But also worth noting, we talk about transitions. We got a new mayor coming in. There's also a school board election out later in this fall. So new people in positions that might be part of these decisions.
Okay. All right, Jenny, thanks for the update.
Denver police are looking for a man who ran over a car dealership employee while stealing a Jeep.
It was horrible. I've been in the industry a long time, and it was the worst I've ever seen.
Happened last Saturday afternoon at Cherry Creek Automotive on East Colfax. The owner, Justin Frank, says a man came in asking to listen to a Jeep's engine. When the employee got out of the car, popped the hood, the man suddenly drove the Jeep forward. The employee grabbed onto the car, but eventually fell off and was run over.
He suffered, like I said, broken bones and had internal bleeding, which was treated immediately that night at the hospital. So, just awful. You know, had it been 6 inches different that he fell and the vehicle crossed his chest, he would have died instantly. And, you know, this person needs to be held accountable for their actions. And I just hope that he gets caught.
The stolen Jeep is a 2015 white Wrangler, no plates, Colorado flag on the front. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Denver police say car thefts are down so far this year compared to last. There have been 660 fewer thefts compared to this time in 2022, but car thefts are still very high. More than 6,000 vehicles stolen this year, nearly 1,000 in the last month alone. For the last 3 months, DPD has tried out this new strategy for preventing car theft. They now have a dedicated auto theft team, which focuses on hotspots for auto theft and uses undercover officers to catch the thieves while they're in the act. But police say the community also needs to help out.
We created this team so that to meet citizens halfway, right? If you'll do the work and register your vehicle for DemraTrack, we've created this special team if your car gets stolen, so we can track it and make an arrest in real time.
Police say they only track cars after they get stolen.
The grocery employee who filmed this now viral video showing men stealing laundry detergent from a King Soopers in Centennial, that employee says he was fired. The video got big on social media because Snoop Dogg shared it with his 80 million followers. When we talked to the former employee today, he says he thinks he did the right thing.
Did I feel that I overstepped boundaries? Not really, because I didn't physically touch them or alter them and, you know, their shoplifting in any way. I revealed the license plate to help the community be aware, the police be aware, and to help better catch them, you know, and that's all I did. And apparently King Soopers felt that I went above and beyond too much once I left the store, once I recorded and, you know, followed them.
Yeah, he pulled some aluminum foil or something off the plate that was covering the number. Investigators are still looking for those 2 suspects seen in the video. If you know anything, you're asked to call the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. We reached out to King Soopers about this firing, and the company would only say that it's disappointed in the rise in thefts, wouldn't talk about firing their employee.
Two tornadoes touched down this morning, more than 100 miles apart, but they were part of the same storm system. The first touched down in Park County, about 3 miles north of Antero Reservoir. A couple hours later, our Corey Reppenhagen caught this tornado on the eastern plains. This one was about 12 miles southwest of Byers. So, I mean, on the heels of what's been another crazy severe weather week.
Yep.
How's the weekend looking?
So far, so good, you guys. Finally, we are going to be tracking, well, some nice, decent weather, some sunshine, not nearly the wild weather that we all had to deal with the past couple of days. We have been dealing with flooding as well as hail, all of that finally coming to an end as we look ahead toward the holiday weekend. We've been watching the storm system pushing across Colorado for the past couple of days. It's just been relentless. Now, finally, it's impacting parts of Kansas and moving out of the state. We're left with a few clouds here for the urban core. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s at this 10 o'clock hour for the metro area, 40s and 50s up in the mountains. But as we watch the futurecast, it's going to kick out all the showers overnight. We'll wake up to some sunshine later on tomorrow afternoon, 3-4 o'clock. Scattered showers beginning to develop up in the northern mountains. Perhaps a few clouds here in the city, a little gusty wind, but that's going to be about it. Warmer days to come. Plus, we'll be looking at next Tuesday or 4th of July forecast coming up in about 10 minutes.
When you have people being turned away, you have real victims.
A new Supreme Court ruling opens the door to a legal form of discrimination in Colorado.
DPD has a warning after finding $80,000 worth of fireworks in a garage.
DIA is offering free overnight stays that no one wants. United is still the issue.